Hi, in this lesson I'm going to talk about what probability is and some ways to understand it. Now the first view is the frequentist view. In the frequentist view, you're looking for some event, E, and to remind you, events are subsets of the sample space, which I'm calling S, so E is a subset of S. Now let's say you run some experiment n times, and any of those times, the outcome is in E. Now, according to the frequentist view, as the number of experiments you run goes to infinity, the ratio of the number of outcomes in E over the number of times you run the experiment will converge to probability of E. So let's clarify this with an example. Let's say you're flipping a coin, so sample space, heads, tails. Let's say your event is that the coin comes up heads. Now, you flip that coin again and again and again and again, and you count up the number of times that it came up heads, and this ratio will converge to the probability of getting heads. Or, how about another example? Let's say you're throwing darts. Your sample space is the positive real numbers, and your event would be, let's say, you missed by less than 4 inches. And I apologize for this horrible writing. So, you throw lots and lots and lots of darts, count up the number of times that the distance is within 4 inches, and you take this, and this ratio should converge to the probability that your dart missed by less than 4 inches. Now, one thing I want to warn you about is, this is not a way to calculate probability, it's a way to understand it. Because you simply can't throw a dart infinitely many times. It's not physically possible, so if you want to find out the probability, don't just go out and throw darts. It's just that this is a helpful way to understand this. Now, the frequentist view has its limitations, which I'm going to illustrate with an example. Let's say some statistician comes up to you and says, the probability of Santa being real is 0.4. Now, what do you make of that? Well, you could take the frequentist interpretation and you could say, well, if I create lots and lots and lots and lots of universes, and then I count the number where Santa is real, then the ratio of universes where Santa is real to the number of universes I created should convert to 0.4. But, I mean, that's just weird. There's a much simpler way to think of it that doesn't have these limitations. That's called the Bayesian view. And in the Bayesian view, a probability is just a number that's associated with an event and follows certain rules, which I'll talk about in another lesson. And again, this means that this whole limit, this limit is not an axiom in the Bayesian view. You don't assume that it's true. So, now one way to think about probabilities in the Bayesian view, because you want some sort of intuition, one kind of intuition is think of probability as a belief. You're 40% sure that Santa exists. So again, the Bayesian view is another tool for understanding probabilities. So both frequentist and Bayesian views are useful in different situations.